Good morning, Thedas! That was lame, but that's okay. Let's move on. I'm Hala, and today, in lieu of Ethan, our poor dear departed, friend, who is going through the ringer with a lot of, well, let's just say work can be a bitch for everyone. Now, let's move on. Starting with, by order of the people I'm seeing here on Discord, starting with Scotty.
Sup, nerds?
That hiccup was great.
Yep.
Aaron.
Hello, guys.
And last but not least, Seeker.
We run a professional and very tight ship here.
If you say so, I'm
great. Keep a fucking straight face with that one, jeez.
Alrighty, so since you last heard of us, there has been we can curse? Yes. There's been a shit ton of new content available to us after years of basically trying to grasp water from the desert that was, well, the past decade. Yeah. We have a shit ton of stuff. So,
yep, shocking. It's almost like we imagine it to be a mirage. Like, no, I've got to truck through another 2 months of desert before I get an oasis.
Oh yeah.
Why is this stuff now?
Now we're literally drowning in new stuff. And so, since there's quite a lot of stuff to go through, we decided that maybe what we should do is something that can basically pick up a bit of everything we've been seeing lately. And let's face it, at this point, you've seen the videos, you've seen the news, you've seen probably a shit ton of people talk about it. What you haven't heard is how we feel about the new stuff that came out, but in a different tone, as in, what are the theories that we have that have been essentially confirmed, and new shit that surprised us. So,
I legit thought you were going to say you haven't heard it in a different accent yet, and I was like, yeah, you know what, that's true. This is true.
I'm sure someone has our accent.
Let me be Olesian. Has our accent.
I was about to say, but have you heard it in Portuguese?
I love how technically, if we were to think about it, we've got Orlesian,
full accents there.
Ferelden, we've got. I guess technically you're either a dwarf or an elf, Scott, depending on what you want to be. Because American English tends to be with the dwarfs or the elves.
I mean, we are, like, as a nation, in terms of stature in relation to the rest of Europe, we are pretty goddamn short, so the dwarf theory kind of holds.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was about to say dwarf. I feel like the dwarves definitely fits.
Yeah.
I will take dominion over the dwarves.
That lost tig that was recently discovered where
basically
exactly off about them.
The Basque tig.
The lost tig, Cal Scotty.
Cal Chirac, that's the one, yes.
Yes, they're a Basque tig that has just been making wine and sheep herding and fishing for cod in places no one knows. Also, they're on the surface too, so that's also like, what the fuck?
We're not searching for the cod if the cod is within us.
Do you know my favourite bit of random Dragon Age dwarf lore that I know off the top of my head? Do you know what they actually brew their alcohol from? Because obviously it's not hops because they don't grow anything. They brew it from lichen, which is why it tastes like ass.
Oh, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah, I remember just reading that, and that has stuck in my brain since Origins, and I love to bring it up every time the dwarves get mentioned.
Also, tiny disclaimer here. What tiny? Huge disclaimer here.
Oh, yeah. There's gonna be spoilers.
Yeah, there's gonna be spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled of anything that went out, all the information that were out, skip this podcast because we are going to go all out with what we saw, what we noticed, and everything. And again, we have been on this podcast for 4 years now, theorizing about this game.
And
so we have actual content instead of just fumes.
Oh yeah,
that's like, oh my god, fuel! I remember this. I used to dream of fuel.
We're probably gonna theorize about things that are gonna happen and we don't even know.
Yeah, so spoiler alert here. If you don't want to get spoiled about what was out, skip the podcast. We still love you, but yeah, spoilers ahead.
Catch up later.
Yeah.
Like, share, and subscribe.
All right. Then, considering all the content that has come out since, I believe, the reveal trailer for the release date.
Oh God, is that the last time we did this? Good grief.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
3 weeks
exactly
ago.
before. Let's start with you, Scotty. I'll go last on the order. But let's start with you, and let's start with what theories did come for you true, stuff that you guessed, and like basically the past content that has shipped the past 3 weeks out to us.
Yeah. So I think the big ones for me, other than what? Solus fucking things up? No.
Unheard of.
You did it again.
You're a master. I mean, there's always that, and especially like, Solus, you're a master planner, and some of those powerful spy organizations are coming after you because they fear what you can do. And yet you can't make your plans maybe a little bit more resilient to, I don't know, people fucking things up a little bit, just saying.
Or maybe just stronger than wood.
Yeah.
You had all that stone, buddy. There was all that stone. It was right there. You couldn't have reinforced that a little bit.
So there's that, which I think that's a little bit low-hanging fruit. For me, though, I think the one theory I've kind of thought about and I've been hyped about since I read Last Flight was actually we're going to start seeing griffins again.
Yep.
And I am so excited for that. And now that one is in our party, it's a baby griffin. I love it.
So taste the good Easter boys. And he's animated just like a golden retriever, and we love him.
Yes, maybe a son.
So I'm very excited. To see griffins. I'm really curious to see how much griffins are playing a part in this, because like I almost have two chains of logic. Either there are now so many griffins at this point, because I think at this rate, if I remember correctly, that Last Flight takes place during the Mage Templar War. If I'm not,
that sounds right to me. Yeah.
Except for the shit that happens in the flashbacks, we're not counting that.
Yeah.
But I was about to say that was happening during the Mage Templar War. So at this point, it's been 12 years. So who knows how many of them has grown. Alas, I think one of the biggest problems, me having a basic understanding of biology and how lineages work. Griffins are probably still doomed, because if that's the only ones left, the incest is going to become a huge problem.
Did I mishear when they released the recent video where we were talking to Davrim and they were walking around the lighthouse a little bit? But I swear the quest we were talking to Davrim about was like, let's go find a clutch of griffins, because otherwise they're going to go extinct. So maybe they've got that one covered for you, Scotty.
But basically from what they showed, Nemesis of the Davran is stealing the griffins to feed some kind of creature. So that's maybe why they didn't find it until Asan, because maybe Asan could flee somehow. Mm-hmm. But I think a huge part of this game is going to be, hey, we're finally going to have griffin. We need to ensure they survive for that.
Yeah, so
they probably covered it like that.
Yeah. My at least two trains of logic, at least in future theories, is either there are so many griffins that a fledgling Grey Warden can get their hands on one. Like, take it with you. It's fine.
Just one thing about a son. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Or he's 100% stole that one.
Yeah.
I think it may be like the best of both worlds. I think it's going to end up being like a Mabari thing where it's like, oh, he's bonded to you, therefore he's yours. Because one thing I loved about how they animated him, if you look at, he's got these little like ear tufts. Okay. And if you pay attention, when Davrim is speaking, both ears are up, and he's paying attention to Davrim. But when Rook is speaking, he's usually got one down, It's just like, oh, that's nice, because it gives the impression that they're actually bonded, and there's a real connection there. And it's like, this is nice. I like this. Please liberally steal from How to Train Your Dragon.
So they talked about that. Davrin says that other wardens told him about the bond between a griffin and a warden moving as one called Torlum, but that for now he doesn't seem to have that yet with Hassan. I think that's the top of this thing is gonna be to completely awake all the capacities he can have with Hassan as is bounded griffin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I know what happened in Weishaupt. I'm sorry, but like,
please.
They said something happened there. Like, oh gosh, what did you do again?
I mean, it's hinted that Weishaupt by the end of Inquisition was end of Trespasser was in some kind of trouble, and now it's hinted during the 22-minute video.
Like it's destroyed.
Yeah.
Like it's fallen. It's like, what?
Or at least in such a state that wardens cannot go back there as it is right now.
Yeah, they have to flee and to hide into like settlements in the desert.
Yeah,
you can definitely see the math on that one, because at the end of Trespasser we had the thing of, basically guys, a Grey Warden civil war is about to happen, and it's like, okay, that sounds great, and shit's going down at Weishaupt, and Hawk may or may not be there, and it's just a thing of, well, that's a big old bomb we're gonna have to deal with later. And I think the bomb happened. And whatever faction, because obviously civil wars have two sides usually. One is for or against something usually, and whatever side is currently inhabiting Weishaupt is obviously not very friendly with whoever is outside of Weishaupt. So I can do the math on that one at least.
Yeah, basically in my head it's first warden group, like old idiots that are hiding way too much, and people who are siding more with what we saw with the Ferelden Wardens being more like, can we be open about stuff? Because we kind of need to stop this BS from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question, guys. Do you think we're going to have any Wardens alive by the end of Veilguard? Because
not the ones we know.
I think it's going to either be they're all dead, because let's face it, if it is in fact what it seems to be heavily implied from everything we've seen so far, that Elganard and Gil'Adain are the final two dragons that need to be awakened, therefore they are the final two archdemons, therefore once they're dead, no more blights. Therefore, if the hero of Ferelden has managed to find a cure for the blight, then the wardens aren't needed anyway, so the whole order just kind of goes kaput, and that's kind of a shame, really. But, yeah.
I think that's more of a funner angle, just like, the Grey Wardens, like, yeah, we're here to stop the Blights. They know what starts and stops them. I think there is going to be a big story beat where we are going to define the fates of the Wardens. And it's going to, and it will be, all the archdemons are dead. Now what? Now it's like, do you disband? Like, y'all have been serving for centuries at this point. Like,
now please retire. Please retire before you end up dying, please.
Especially if there's a cure for the calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's also the other thing is, they may just die out anyway from calling.
The calling. Yep.
And I doubt they would probably want to subject anybody else to it.
I hope not.
Without there being very good reason,
Well, especially because technically what happens with a warden, what you do to become a warden, and what the calling is still not known to everyone. Like even Alistair or Stroud or Logain, no matter who you have as a warden, is still pretty vague about it. Like they don't tell you, we drink Darkspawn blood, so we're blighted and we wait to die. No, like that's still pretty secret as well. So.
Yeah, at least outside of the order, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm gonna essentially disagree with everyone. But I feel like, we defeated archdemons, and archdemons have been defeated throughout the Blights, and they're, like, the point, I think, is to defeat another couple during Veilguard, but I don't know that just because the archdemons are dead, apparently they're a separate entity from the old gods. So that doesn't mean that more archdemons cannot technically be created. That's the thing. Because there are more gods that are out there. So we know that, for example, ones that I would really like to see, as most of you will know, would be Desamen and Falondin. Let's face it, I love them. I want to see them. I want to fight them. I don't want to put them on their knees. Anyway. And
okay, so that's a way to defeat them. Sure.
Exactly.
Like,
I want them
certainly
begging
more
for
peaceful
mercy.
route. Yep.
You know they won't.
Well, that's an image.
No, but the
grief.
thing is, and by the way, I finally found out the proper spelling of Gillanane, which is I've been calling that bitch Gillanan for ages, but it's Gillanane, so
it is Gillanane. To be fair, I only realised that recently as well. Where I usually called her Gillanan because I don't know, Gillanan just for me rolled off the tongue better than Gillanane.
Yeah.
Also, the amount of people who called Andruil Andrul for ages. Like, no, there's an eel at the end.
I've been calling Andruil, but that's like that's a Portuguese accent coming out. So
yeah.
Honestly, do you ever just like add flavor, like especially for fantasy bullshit, just add weird accent shit onto it just because it sounds fancier that way?
I will say, to kind of bounce on what you're saying, Hala, I do think there is what's the best way to put it? I think that's going to be a part of the choice of like, no, there's a reason why. And it's almost hinted at that the blights are a separate, like, blighted things are separate.
Yep.
You know,
the
like,
gods themselves aren't technically blighted. Well, there's Gillanine's bullshit that she did to her own body, but we don't talk about that.
So... Yeah, and that's kind of the thing is like, okay, well, if there's no god, is there still blights? Or is there, are there still going to be blights that the Grey Wardens have been dealing with for centuries? Are there going to be, like, I think that is going to be a core thing, is just the idea of, do we keep the Grey, like, do the Grey Wardens, all the archdemons are gone, do you disband them?
Because the bit of lore I keep...
I would offer to your theory, Scott, that blights are horrible, and they're big, and they're atrocious, but they are essentially, to the old gods, they're a means to an end. So it would be their way of getting out, their way of getting more power, of getting things that they could control. And yes, there is the possibility that all blights will end, but at the same time, it's like, this feels like just the beginning of the fight against the old gods. So, at the same time, I don't know if, like, if God willing, this game does well, and there's a sequel, it might be that we fight a hell of a lot more gods in the next one until, I guess, the final big thing is to defeat all gods, even though it's a bit weird that we would start with, wasn't Elgar'nan. Yep.
I mean, doesn't surprise me in the sense that when we talked about like the Ivanuris years ago, that was already so long ago. He is the king of them. If someone has to do things first, it's Mister. Like, talk about an ego trip there with Solus. Ergonan is worse. But
True. This game feels like both a beginning and an end. Like an end to the age where people were unaware of the Avanuris or gods and just exactly why blights did what they did. And like the beginning of, okay, let's fight the real enemy now that the veil's kind of coming down. It's not very stable. Will it be stable by the end of the game? Good question.
It might be a choice to bring it down or not. It seems to be... Or, no. The choice might be to either reason with Solus, and he's not going to take it down, or he's not listening to you and he's still going to do it anyway. It seems to be more revolving around, since Solus is trapped in the Fade, like, hey, does he take it down from the inside finally, or does he finally realize that we might maybe be able to take the gods down without the veil down?
Yeah.
I will say also from a storytelling perspective, Elganon and Gillanane makes sense depending on the other elven gods we know and on this side of the veil, because Elgadon is Mythal's husband. No way that's going to be relevant. No one could possibly show up to have opinions or stuff to say on that at all. Morrigan / Flemeth, there's no way there's not some funky shit going on with the fact that she's now wearing Flemeth's headpiece. No, nothing at all. And as far as the whole shit with Gillenane, because not only do we have the whole story of Solas's interactions with Andruil and Gillenane, and Andruil and Gillenane were lovers, and that's a whole messed up thing. So not only do we have that, but Gillenane seems to be very much poised to be Solas's foil, in terms of Solas is trying to do what he believes is the right thing. He's trying to minimize the damage. Once again, how successful he is a whole different debate. But from his point of view, he's trying to do the right thing, minimize damage, and do the best overall in like a bigger picture type way. Gillenane does not care. Gillenane wants to like pull the wings off flies and twist things into abominations for shits and giggles. So for her to be like this, I think that's what we're poised to be, is to have the constant debates between. And I think that's, if the game is setting up these foils of, okay, this is Gillenane's foil is Mythal, and Elgadon's foil is Mythal and Solas's foil is Gillenane, that potentially, depending on how quickly in the story they get introduced and considering how sizable a role they have, Rook's foil ends up being the Inquisitor. Now, they could do some very, very funky and interesting things with how they do the Inquisitor for Veilguard. I'm slightly terrified because, shall we say, their track record for how returning characters are written is a little hit or miss. Let's be charitable. And with the Inquisitor returning, I think it's going to be the easiest it's been for them, because player characters are inherently kind of a blanker slate. Yes, obviously we've spent decades filling in like, oh, here's my 2,000-page fanfic of everything my Inquisitor ever did. But for the most part, it's going to be like, okay, here are the broad strokes. We also all have the same voice. Not so much the same voice, but the same 4 voices. So, outside of, your race or class, whatever, you're all the same character and have a lot of the same responses. So the writing can be very similar. Not to mention we appear to have all the same actors returning, so there wouldn't be a weird disconnect there vocally. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm just the person who's been like, please just put Solas and Llewellyn in a room together.
In that case, taking back to Aaron.
I think the biggest thing that made me jump on the couch when I saw specifically the release date trailer is the number of dragons, because it goes against what we said before.
Yep.
But I think I prefer what I'm seeing.
Yep.
We see this big dragon on a city. I don't know which one seems to be. I'm not sure it's Tevinter. It might be Antiva. Looks like whitish. Maybe Weissop as well, because we had the theory of
very statuey. I swear I saw a griffin statue at one point. I was sure it was Weissop.
Yeah, because we had the theory of potential archdemon being under Weissop as well. So that archdemons is just, from what we saw, because of the 2 red and blue dragons that we see at the end, that can be your little babies dragons, holla.
Oh no!
Little like twin gods dragons. They
I'm
seem
hoping
to be
so goddamn hard that is who I think it is, but I don't think I'm
me
gonna
too.
get that lucky.
Hey, look, when the first gameplay before the first gameplay trailer, we were all like, this is Gillenane and Ergonon, isn't it? And we had no confirmation, and we were so happy to be right, so we were right.
Hell yeah.
Even back in the Evanuris podcast, when we analyzed the figures, we said that since the beginning. So one thing we were right about, and I'm happy about it. But it's also super interesting to see that the dragons that the Venuris seems to be able to control, like we saw with Mythal, are more a shell of them than anything else. It's not literally them.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it even more dangerous because I don't know if they can bring dragon back from the dead. I hope not. Jesus is gonna be very bad otherwise.
They look kind of zombified though.
Yeah, that's why I'm like no. But it seems to be more in a place where the veil is very thin.
True.
So that may be how they bleed into it, and that would also explain why Solus is very against killing the archdemons, because maybe those dragons might get something open for the gods to enter the world more and more, which would explain why Gilanan could actually do her monstrosity with the wardens' bodies. And I'm like,
no,
that might be even bigger than what we thought. So that's something that I'm very interested in.
But I have a tiny theory brewing in my mind right now.
Go for it.
What if the dragons are indeed dead? Those specific
it's like necro dragons.
Yeah, what if they were ones that were defeated before and Gilanan walking around with the veil was like, hey, I'm gonna raise the dead. That's why they look like
So they're demon archdemons, like demon infested dark archdemons. Is that what we're saying?
Zombie arch.
No, because they're too small. They're too small. Like, this is absolutely not Ethereal.
I mean, the thing is,
definitely not.
What if
I know, but the scale's kind of off. Between all three games, like I feel like the scale of the dragons has changed every single time. So saying like, oh, it can't be an archdemon because it's not the size of a Themiel, because and it's like, oh yeah, it couldn't. The previous, Corypheus' archdemon couldn't be an archdemon because it was too small. It's like, I feel like the size of these dragons changes every single time we see them. So
So to bring in my own expertise on
dragon expert.
Yeah, well, no, on some of the comics, the Grove comics, like, and this is actually, since we're bringing up dragons, one thing I actually kind of hope for is like some of the stuff in the Grove comics comes a little true of like. The fact that that there is an entire area that is not protected anymore because a certain Witch of the Wild gets stabbed by Alistair.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Idiot!
But for basically kind of not really that great a reason. Like, she's not really threatening him at the time. I was just like, that seems harsh.
He's being petty, that's it.
he being petty. But that being said, I mean, the idea of that there are... I think one reason why there could be different sized dragons, or like why the sizes change, is because we are starting to deal with more and more varieties of dragons. And that there are high dragons out there that are fucking gigantic. So I'm wondering if any of that stuff is going to be coming true, of that we'll be dealing with, of like, there are bigger classifications of dragons out there. That would be nice, because then you're paying homage to your first comic series.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm like, I hated so many aspects of the Grove that I'm like...
I mean, but we kind of know the Grove, and like a lot of them are canon. If you bring Alistair to the Fade, he clearly says that it's not his first time here and that he saw his dad in it. You're like, oh, the
canon now, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, and the last
we're keeping it canon that Sten calls Alistair Kadan. That's canon. Like, we're not going to question this. No one's going to question this.
Also,
why?
Show me Sten. What Sten?
Sten. We want him back.
Sten the Arishok.
Yes.
Sten the Arishok.
Arishok, not DS2. Arishok, new Arishok.
The thing is,
my Arishok.
Inevitably gonna see him, I feel, considering that's one of the main enemies. Just hasn't been shown so much. Now we're gonna be a problem again.
So the thing is, when you remember the comics and everything, the Arishok actually doesn't want to attack, that there's like dissidents in the factions. And what was her name? The one in the Tevinter Knights book that follows Genetivi. Yeah, I don't like her, but we're probably gonna see her. She's gonna be a problem.
Do you remember the name of the specific story?
Genetivi dies in the end. But yeah, like the for the whole dragon thing, definitely there's gonna be some veil necromancy stuff. Thank you, Gilanan. That's probably why Elganon is going with her, because none of the gods liked Gilanan in the first place anyway. But she's a crazy scientist that you kind of want on your side no matter what.
I mean, you definitely don't want her against you. And by the way, the name is Rasan.
There we go. I don't like her. I hate you. Like, look, we know you don't like Solus. We all have questions, but don't kill Janet TV over that.
I mostly because obviously it's an easy thing to get people invested in newer stories with a certain franchise if you bring in the old faces and then do horrible things to them because you're emotionally invested in those people already. Like I've said before, that I was very convinced when they dropped the first gameplay reveal that, I didn't think Varric's making it out of that scene alive. But then in the recent one, when they're walking around the lighthouse, Varric was on the mini map. So it's like, okay, that's good, I guess.
I'm gonna be the meanest one here. That doesn't mean he's in a good state.
No. I was going to say, my immediate thought was, oh, maybe he's stuck here. Maybe like he's, maybe there's like a million reasons why he could be there and not in the best place, as we say. And I'm just sat here thinking, like, there are so many characters whose fates are either up in the air or like the Wardens, where there's a perpetual ticking time bomb on whether they're alive, whether they're dead, or just could be abducted by Gillenane nonsense for horrible things, and we're just going to sit there and be like, why would you do this to my favourite? And they say, because you're invested now. So I feel I make it sound like the BioWare writers are just evil masterminds, just holding all our favourites over at a cauldron or something.
Hey, to be fair, I feel like that's, if any of them were here listening to that, they would go, yes, this is 100% our plan. This is what, yes, of course.
Yep.
Alrighty. Aaron, if you have nothing else to say?
No, we can go to Sika.
Go ahead.
As far as the big theories, there was the implication that the elven gods are in fact the old gods and the archdemons as well, which seems to be implied, but then of course there's a lot of wiggle room there, so we'll hold that one at a question mark for now. The thing that got me was some eagle-eyed person, when watching the Lighthouse video, spotted the Inquisition. The Inquisition throne, it's like in a mirror in like one shot that they slowed right the hell down, but they're like, that's the Inquisition throne. So kudos to whoever that was. Which to me seemed to heavily imply, because obviously the rules of the Fade are slightly nebulous and blah, 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 blah. Like, how does being in the Fade interact with the physical space? Does it like overlap the physical world? That kind of thing. Like, it's a little nebulous, but with the notion that Solus has been staying there for years, and there's just a piece of Skyhold there, specifically the throne, right where the Inquisitor, next to where the Inquisitor's bedroom is just like, has he got that there so he can visit Lavellen in her sleep? Is that why that is there? Because if that's why it's there, it will break my heart, especially if you get to confront him about it and be like, yo, this is weird, why is this here?
The thing is, the Inquisitor quit Skyhold after Trespasser. They don't stay in Skyhold.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
That's a shame.
Yeah, they only stay in between. Right? Even in the... it confirms in Tevinternas that it has been emptied since the disband or the use of the Inquisition as the peace force. So the Lavellen is not there. I don't know if it's a painting or like a mirror. It seems to be more of a painting. But again, the Fade would make it like it can probably brings a memory. Mm-hmm. And there's a certain something that gained life in Skyhold, probably because of this painting, because intricacy between the place and the painting. So maybe regret was born over Solus dwelling for 10 years on the painting. That's
so good.
For me, that's maybe the best solution of Solus being all alone in the lighthouse, And when you look at the picture of the throne, it has candles, like a little shrine. And him just remembering his friends and having regret of losing them that way because he knows what he has to do. And that might be why regret came to be alive from the paintings. I don't know if in Skyhold we have a painting of the throne, because maybe like there's a twin painting moment or something. But in any case, it would be a good, like a little wink at you to be, hey, Solus painting equal, you're gonna cry your heart out. Have demons over it.
I haven't found the exact video this is from yet, but I saw a clip of Emmerich saying, I think it was to Lucanus, they were talking about Solus's murals, and they said and Emmerich said maybe it's more than a mural, maybe it's a memory. Yep. So I think you're going to be able to see Solus's memories. And oh boy, I'm here for the pain. I'm here for the pain. It's going to be so good. It's going to hurt so good. And I'm gonna be like, just let me hug you, you stupid elf.
I mean, that's the thing with the way he relieves things. That's why he painted over Skyhold. They wanted the place to be to hold memories of what happened. Same with the thing you have in the Inquisitor's bedroom. Probably why the lighthouse is the Rapunzel Tower, which is kind of hilarious, knowing that Solus doesn't have hair anymore, but. That's something else.
One thing I really hope to be able to do in the lighthouse is just like in Skyhold. I want to jump from the top of the tower to the bottom of the tower. And I want no fall damage, and I want to. Whoever is down there is going to be. I'm just going to be a nuisance to them.
You know what I'd love? I'd love if you could have, like, if, say, for instance, there's like empty picture frames that you can put pictures in, because then you could mod it so you could put things in like the bitches love castles meme.
Yes.
I would totally do that. Just go around the lighthouse just putting weird Solus memes in.
I mean, hey, in between Skyhold for the Inquisitor, whatever the relationship between Solus and the Inquisitor is, and giving the freaking lighthouse to Rook. Like, what are you trying to say, Solus?
It's just love castles.
And giving them to people he originally doesn't like, and then after, like, and in some ways.
So the elven name for Skyhold is Tarasalan, or something of that thing, but the place where the sky comes to rest. And almost immediately after I heard that, I was like, hang on. When we came to the end of the game and I was playing it again, I was just like, hang on, is Skyhold where Solus created the Veil? Is that what that implies? Meaning that is the lighthouse like a split off part of Skyhold?
Nope. That's the secret base of operation. Skyhold was known. But not the lighthouse.
No, I mean, I'm saying that when he put the veil in, could the lighthouse have broken off and been stuck in the Fade this whole time?
I mean, is it stuck in the Fade if it was already in the Fade already? Because the Fade was a part of the Evil Word. So that's the whole question about like this gigantic thing that we saw in the gameplay. Like, there's a lot of things to see in the lighthouse and in the crossroads.
I feel like it is implied that basically the lighthouse and Skyhold were different bases of operation for Solus. That's all it was, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe Skyhold was where he was, like, himself as Evanuris, like, kind of stuff. Because it seemed like more on the top of the mountain, grand, that you can see and, like, basically brag about. Lighthouse?
The Olympian Mountain? Or
basically, yeah. Or the lighthouse seems to be more where the followers would go after defecting from their own gods. So maybe that's why it's so massive, because it seems massive.
I love the detail of apparently the longer we're in the lighthouse, the more personalized all the companions' little spaces becomes. I also love, thank you whoever thought of this. This is one of the best things I've heard for just a quality of life improvement. If the companions have anything to say to you, there is a little light outside their house. Like, thank you, God. I don't have to check in with every single person every 5 minutes just to make sure I don't miss some catastrophic piece of story content because I decided to do something else for a little bit that moved the plot forward.
I feel like in all likelihood, or someone attached, I feel like it may have been the same person that was mentioned the last video that came out at this point that we're recording, which is the 7th of September, where John Epler mentioned that 22-minute video on IGN that there was someone who was specifically responsible for the gifts that you give to your companions.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I have
like
a feeling it might be the same person. It feels like it would be something very personal to the characters, and I feel that it would take someone dedicated to also do that. It might be the same person, it might be associated.
I'm glad gifts are coming back, because obviously we had more like, obviously the Feast Day gift stuff was more like a DLC, and then we had, in Dragon Age 2, you could find certain gifts, but that was more... If you weren't following a guide, it was a complete crapshoot where you would find these things and why on earth they would be relevant to your party members. And it's just like, I hope you know about lore stuff, because if you don't, you're going to have no idea why this person would find this relevant to them. Like the Blade, like who would have seen Blade of Hessarian and thought, you know what, Fenris is going to fucking love this. If you don't already know exactly who that is and why that might be relevant. So the idea of like, oh no, in this one you can find or go out of your way to get very personalized gifts that are very meaningful. It's like, thank you, that is very much an improvement. Because I don't think in Inquisition you give like maybe one gift to each companion. Yeah, I'm going to say, obviously... There's the Dragon's Tooth. You can give Sarah cookies and the book. The book
to Cassandra. Solace, it's the... Solace is nothing, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Cullen gives you a coin, and I'm trying to think of anyone else who gets a gift, or you give a gift to. Obviously, if you're romancing Dorian, you get to get his... the thing back that he pawned, whatever his necklace or ring is, I can't remember what it is, but whatever that thing is, you get it back for him. And there's nothing else I can think of off the top of my head. Blackwall, you don't really do anything.
I hate Blackwall, please.
He exists. Hala, he exists. I'm bringing him up because he exists. I'm not defending his actions. I'm saying that you don't give him a gift.
Everything's fine.
Okay. Yeah, literally. Although now thinking about, because I was like checking off, as like, oh, you don't do anything for Vivienne, you know, outside of like, oh, a quest. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, when it's a quest, I don't know. It seems. I don't know if it seems less. I was gonna say, I don't know why the quest itself makes it feel cheaper to me. Whereas like, oh, go get a dragon's tooth and go kill this dragon. And now I don't know why that makes it cheaper to me than it's like, oh, I want to do something for my significant other or whatever. Although I do love in Inquisition that if you're romancing Sarah, Vivienne suggests shaving something into your privates as a gift for your beloved, which is just a wild sentence to say. Just like, oh yeah, that was a thing that happened, but yeah, sure, weird.
My theory that proved true is stupid and I fucking love it. But I got me my tall, strong Kunari lady.
Yes!
Yeah!
I was praying. I knew she was gonna come up. I wasn't so hopeful as to think, yeah, she's gonna be a companion, but she is. She's romanceable. Let's go.
Yeah, according to Corinne Bush, she has the steamiest romance, which I think may allude to the fact that she can breathe fire. So read into that what you will.
Roast me, baby. Woo!
It's just cute to think that the images we had in the BTS videos like years ago, actually now we can like picture like, oh, that wasn't a companion. This is Manfred.
That's Manfred. What up, bud?
Oh, speaking of,
he seems to be so cool.
Of Manfred and then consequentially Emmerich. Nowadays, do you guys know? Currently, there's still this meme going on of Kendrick. Give me the next albums. Nowadays, I don't say Kendrick, I go Emmerich!
That's funny. Like, Emmerich is the harbinger, or like the arbiter of all Dragon Age things, where we just plead to Emmerich for things.
Emmerich, you can raise the dead, you can give me this.
Yelling in the lighthouse at 3 a.m.
A quick question, you guys. So obviously we have our sights set on a particular person. And have you at any point looked at the other companions and thought, oh, like not so much like I'm tempted by you, but had a suspicion that maybe that person might surprise you?
Oh yeah.
Because obviously a lot of us have had like, I went in with the intention of romancing this person, and someone else came along. So who would that be for you?
Ooh.
Wait, can you repeat the last part because I didn't catch it?
Okay, so who would it be for you? The person you suspect might surprise you, like or throw off your romantic plans.
I hate to say it, but it's. I think that for me, it's probably gonna be. Oh God, what's his name? The one with the.
Lucanus?
No, the one with the son. Davrin.
Davrin.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the more I see of him, the more I'm like, I don't like him, Rudy, but you're starting to tempt me.
Yep. I see that.
Tasha, I'm weird. Okay, I know what I just said is, yay, big Kunari lady, but I need more because at this point she's the one I might be the least interested.
We've had no like personality. Like that's not like she doesn't. They don't have any personality. It's just we haven't been shown that personality yet. So at the minute it's just kind of like a big question mark. So I can totally understand why the least amount of engagement is there purely on the fact that we don't know them yet.
Exactly. Besides, I can watch from afar while romancing someone else, so valid.
Just how
Oh no, you're gonna have to do second playthrough. How bad?
Second? This is gonna be at least my 5th.
I know.
I'm gonna have 7 at least.
For me, I feel like Balara is gonna really get me by surprise. I think she's gonna get me, and Nev is also gonna get me. Granted, god damn it, don't take Harding away from me. 10 years, 12 years of this I've waited.
She is.
Okay, I don't know why I thought they didn't make her romanceable in this.
She is, but there's people asking themselves, if you did the tiny thing that you can do in Inquisition with her, what does it mean?
Apparently not much. Apparently she on your eyes and not much.
Yeah, she wasn't even in the keep. Even if we don't keep the keep, but she wasn't even an option there, so that was a minor thing anyway.
Look, the Inquisitor was just a side dish.
Painfully minor.
Yeah.
I hate to say this because of it just you know when suddenly there's an eruption of thirst from a certain section of the internet and you're just like, please cool your jets. You're like, I don't know where you people are coming from, but good grief. The amount for Emmerich was genuinely concerning.
Oh yeah, Emmerich is fan favorite, hands down.
The amount of memes I saw of people being like heading to Emmerich's room and he's not going to be walking straight afterwards, and just like, please, can you calm down? But I suspect, I would love to.
It's coming from you of all people, but continue.
Yeah,
hush you. Listen, I'm not finishing that sentence.
No, please do try to defend yourself, please.
No.
Right. Anyway, so Lucanus has been like the guy who's just like, yep, that's the one. I'm going in first playthrough. I pretty much liked everyone else, but Emmerich is just the guy I sit and think, I could have a conversation with you, and that's like 75% of me being there anyway. And I'm just like, you know what, you got a Vincent Price vibe, and that's very appealing. So I'm just like, you know what? I could definitely be swayed by Emmerich depending on personality. It's like, oh, he's the gentleman necromancer. It's just like, go on.
So, I don't. Since this morning or since yesterday, I've been seeing this clip doing the rounds of, the scene when they're all sitting around.
Oh yeah, the eye fucking from Emmerich and Lucanus. So it's just like, do you guys need a room?
Those two are gonna share a room if you don't romance them. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, no way.
I know that I said previously that I was gonna romance Emmerich first, but the thing is, those two look so fucking hot. Yeah,
oh God.
I'm hesitating now because I'm like, do I want to? I do, but at the same time, do I also want to? I do.
Do I want to romance myself, or do I want a yaoi fangirl?
Both.
Both is good.
That's what loves are for!
Can I be the third?
Can I be the top
Can
of
I
the
watch?
Eiffel Tower?
You know what? Considering we had poly romances in BG3, if this is the Bioware game where it's like, oh, we now have canon poly romances instead of
No,
Oh,
people
God.
being like,
they already said they're not gonna do it.
No.
I know,
unfortunately.
but
I
it
want
just
it though.
I yearn for poly romance in a Bioware game that isn't just either a glitch or just
Yeah, GF5. GF5.
Yeah.
this would be nice.
I'm
Or
wondering
even
if
when it's suggested and then immediately shut down, it's like, why did you put that in there?
I'm wondering if some of that I'm kind of curious on why, because like on a little bit of a side note, because they've said no on, I want to say ace romances. They've said no on ace romances.
Wait, did they?
They did that. Yeah, they confirmed that in a
the Q&A
one of the
on
Discord.
Discord, right?
Yeah, that one. They confirmed it there. Which was very ironic coming from like, hey, yeah, I'm Ace.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to like myself, but yeah, unfortunately, yeah, no ace romances and no poly romances. I'm really curious to see like what was stopping them, because they've done ace romances in the past.
Yeah.
And
it's
I
not
feel
like
the
it's
of,
gonna
like,
give
yeah.
you more work. Like, it's less one cutscene where you gotta figure out how to move bodies in a way that is permissible by the rating system. So I don't see why it would be
and doesn't
more
look like
work to
Barbie dolls
include
smashing
it.
together.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. I'm sure they have a pretty good reason for it, and I don't know if it was in I don't know why. I'm very curious. Like, I would love for them to like just have a conversation, like just do a deep dive on like, okay, what was your guys' initial approach to romances? How did you determine like? When did you guys make the choice of there's going to be no ace relationships or poly ones, or
we're never gonna get an
I'd really hate if the
you don't
answer
know?
to that ends up being, oh, we needed to compete with Baldur's Gate 3, and Baldur's Gate 3 had the bear theme, so we had to compete with that.
The thing is, by the time the bear thing was out, the game was already done. So that's not
exactly. I'm using the bear just because that just came up in my brain. I was like, oh god, yes, that did get a lot of attention. But yeah,
it's more. I'm curious because the fact that they. And I guess more the reason why like I actually want them to kind of discuss this is, you can tell when they've confirmed it that this was a very deliberate choice and there were discussions about it.
Yeah.
That's more why I'm going from like,
elaborate, please.
This doesn't, and most of the time game devs usually when they like, oh, why didn't you do this, X choice over Y or whatnot, they usually have very good reason.
Yep.
So that's like
it's very rarely. I don't know. Like, wait, no, please elaborate. There's got to be more than that.
So that's why it's like I kind of do want them to actually like, just like lay it down on us. Like, why did you make that? Why did you make that choice? And why, more importantly, did you think that it would make the game better?
I mean, think it makes it better, but I'm guessing someone asked it for a specific reason. And I wouldn't necessarily think it's the best reason, but is there a reason? Probably yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a question that can be asked in the QA development thing, if it get answered to or not. That's something that maybe can be asked.
I would say maybe one more question. This is gonna have to be a quick one. We are over an hour.
No,
but
yeah, I'm just gonna tell you then who is gonna surprise me, I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because Lucanus is my first goal, and I'm set on that. Again, putting disclaimer out there. You know who I'm romantic. Don't come after me if you cry.
I mean,
you know that.
Look, I
wanted to
you say that mostly to yourself on that one, Aaron.
No, that's always the case in any Automata play, any RPG. Don't trust me when I'm romancing someone.
No,
That's it.
No. No. Like,
But
I'm literally watching you.
Yep. Emmerich is my second choice. I don't think I'm going to be swayed in the sense that I know I'm going to romance Emmerich anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think Belara might also be the one that's going to surprise me more. Like, okay, I'm curious to see because she's a lore nerd, and that's exactly why I turned to Solus. Because I wanted to know stuff, so she might be able to sway me just because I'm a sucker for lore, and especially elven lore. So once again, knowledge is gonna get the better of me, and I just want my assassin baby, please. Leave me alone.
All right, final question, and this might be, at least I hope, a very quick one. Is there not a theory, but is there something in the past videos and Q&As and whatever we've seen for the past 3 weeks that not only took you completely by surprise, but destroyed a previous theory that you had?
Oh.
That destroyed the theory? Maybe not.
Yeah, and most of my stuff has been like, oh, if you squint at it, it's kind of half right, you know, or like something I was vaguely in the right direction of.
I have one.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
Mine is actually the fact that we would be working with Solus.
Oh yeah.
True.
That for me surprised me because I thought they were going to go through. He was going to be the antagonist through, at least halfway through the game, and he's still an antagonist. But now there's the bigger threat. That's usually a lot of the time their MO. But or just you keep the same villain all the way through. Mm-hmm. The fact that we're working with Solus and and I'm sure it's going to be there's going to be a lot of animosity of like, hey, thanks for fucking up my ritual, asshole.
Yeah, but I think Dev said that you can develop that relationship as well, which yay.
Yeah, improve it or not.
Yeah, but the fact of that's even an option and that's happening, maybe not like beginning of the game, but like the fact that is happening at all, let alone kind of probably in the first third of the game, is kind of surprising, and I'm very happy about that because that kind of means like, oh, so like I can kind of see why, like especially why they changed the name from like Veilguard to Dreadwolf, because like it's like we're not even fighting the Dreadwolf at this rate.
He's fighting with us, that's the thing.
Yeah. And also I think it gives Soul, because like for me, I don't ever really like, in a weird way, I don't think I ever really saw Solus as like a villain.
Yeah, no.
Granted, that's also
sense.
Yeah. Granted, there was a few, and I've complained this to you guys, but for any new listeners, I know one of the biggest issues I've had with Solus in the past. I have a love-hate relationship with his stuff about his conversations about in Trespasser when you finally talk to him.
Yeah.
Because how vaguely he talks about stuff. Like the comparison I always give. Imagine someone talking about the complexities of World War I by just saying there was a war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was complicated and people wanted things to be simple. Like,
no.
But you need to elaborate a little more.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest issues I ran into. Was like, what the and that was kind of the thing is, but I feel like now we actually will get, oh no, why did Solus do all the things that he did? Yeah. What was the logic, the reasoning behind it all? So that's the one thing where I'm actually like, oh, we actually have a chance for that.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, I think this is such a better direction than actually having Solus be just a straight up villain of just him forcing us to. It's almost the best way I can put it. It's It's the bad behavior T-shirt where it's like that big oversized T-shirt you put 2 kids that are misbehaving in.
Yeah.
That's what happened to us in Solus. It was like,
someone draw fan art. Someone draw fan art of this. I need it immediately.
Yeah, just like, well, we're stuck here now because we gotta fucking work together, you dick.
Yep.
You broke my toys.
What surprised me is kind of linked to what Scott said, because the fact that Solus is not going to be the main villain, thank God. And knowing why he's doing what he's doing, the simple fact that they dropped like a bomb during the last gameplay reveal that you're gonna relieve the rebellion and actively see what was happening, which, what? That's, yes, give me the justification. Show me the thing. Show me why the Dreadwolf is what he is. Yeah, like that's gonna be the crossroad is all in shambles and everything, and because of that, you're gonna be able to relieve the stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is so much better than. Yes, I love when Solus speaks because I have a problem with the voice actor.
You have a voice coach. It's fine. We all do. We're BioWare fans. It's just a thing.
But seeing it and trying to understand by actively doing it. And see what happens when you're actively doing a rebellion against gods or whatever. This is the thing that really hyped me and be like, I'm happy to understand why everything unfolded the way it did. So yeah, that's my main thing. My main big surprise was relieving what happened during the rebellion.
Siri. I don't know. I'm just at the minute. I'm mostly just trying to be here and just be like, give me the. I just want the game in my hands as quickly as possible. So at the minute is just everything is just serving to just give me more. I need it.
In that case, I have 2.
Yeah.
First,
I love how you're like, hey, let's try to do this fast, but. Yo, I got that.
Let's go.
No.
Like, first, and this is maybe stupid, but I thought that the Evanuris had turned into archdemons. I didn't think that they were separate entities, and then basically it was confirmed that they were, and I'm like, holy shit! Yay! So that was one. And the second one was, like, and this was visually stunning to me, that... And in a way, it's still not completely confirmed, but we saw the literal Dreadwolf. And I'm not sure that Solus was in there. I don't know if Solus turned into that. I feel like that may be a whole separate entity, because right now Solus doesn't seem to have a body, or his body somewhere we don't know.
Because I've always hated, because some people have there was a theory bouncing around for a while that due to the fact that Mythol and Flemeth were at some point separate entities, and then Mythol possessed Flemeth in some kind of way. We're vague on the details. That must mean that Solus is a separate entity to the Dreadwolf, and therefore, blah 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 blah. I was like, no, guys, that's that's not that isn't supported by the text. Damn it. But the idea of if anyone's played Final Fantasy 16. With the nature of the icons and the dominants are essentially people in the simplest terms possible, essentially possessed by a spirit of particular power, and they can then transform into those forms, but if under severe amounts of stress or whatever, they can lose control of that form, which is very distressing for them, but then they just have no control on that whatsoever. So it could be a notion of Solus has that form because that's always the form he had. Because I was under the impression but just like I was theorizing a while ago that maybe Solus has a dragon form the same way that Mythol has dragon form. And the Dreadwolf thing was just he was called Fen'Harel, and the Dreadwolf therefore is not a literal fucking wolf. Turns out, nope, it's a very literal fucking wolf. So maybe it's just a notion of he has that form, doesn't like to use it, or only uses it when he needs to, which when fighting 2 freaking dragons, yep, sure, totally see that. Not that he ever had to do that in Inquisition. Could have been useful, buddy.
He was too weak in Inquisition. That's the thing.
I know, but it's still funny when it's just like, you could turn people to stone this entire time.
I have kind of two theories, kind of jumping off of what you said about Solus's origin and his relationship to that literal giant wolf, which is either A, that was his form before he became an elf, as turned by mythology, because that's still a theory of mine.
That makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see that.
The other theory that I had even before this game came out, which was he was a spirit, like whatever form he had, if he had any form, he was a spirit, got turned into an elf by Mythal, went through all the war and shit, and then finally his version of the archdemon, like you said, is a dreadwolf. So I don't know, it's one of the two, I feel. Although I feel like, of course, I'm missing pieces of it, but you know, who isn't right now?
So yeah, that's my theory.
Or the ones that surprise me. I don't even know where we are exactly anymore. We kind of veered off.
Yeah, again, there's a lot going on, and we are all overwhelmed by all this.
Oh yeah.
Pleasantly so, but it's still a lot.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any final comments to get out, or?
Yes, I'm happy that we can see the approval of companions now. Like, following up on that. That's it.
Oh, thank Christ.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
We are we are less than 2 months away from getting the next Dragon Age game. This is a sentence this still blows my mind. It's just we will have it in our hands and we can this is just nuts to me. We've been waiting 12 long years and now we will finally have a new Dragon Age game. That's just insane to me. But yeah,
Well,
that's it.
Only 10, but yeah.
Sorry. Oh yeah, because it's 10 was since Trespasser, 12 since Inquisition. Or am I wrong?
No, 10
no, I'm wrong.
since
Yeah,
Inquisition.
sorry, 2014. Yep, I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
2015
math
for
for
Trespasser.
a second and the math wrong.
I said 12 because I was making a Harry Potter joke.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
making
Okay, got it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was making a Harry Potter joke.
They're too
12,
young, Scott.
I
I'm
don't
the only
know
one who
what
got
it
it.
Yeah, Azkaban.
All right, and with that, everyone, thank you for listening to us and potentially watching whatever video Ethan puts on this. And I will let you guys say goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time, you nerds.
Have a good one, guys.
Hey.
Dareth Shirl or whatever the fuck they say. See ya.
It's all enough.
Bye.